Welcome to the presentation of the paper Designing for Bodily Play Experiences based on Danish Linguistic Connotations of Playing a Game by Louise, Petersen, Matjeka and Florian, Floyd, Mueller. Hi there. Movement-based game design is becoming more and more popular within computer game design, and so is the research on designing these games. However, an important aspect when designing these games is to understand the player's bodily play experience. In this presentation, I will go through 4 different perspectives to the bodily play experience, as these are understood in the Danish language. Because in the Danish language, there are 2 verbs for playing and 2 nouns for game, which provides us with 4 different perspectives to the English playing a game. To get an idea of the differences between the verbs, we can refer to these as a kind of doing. These are at lege, which in English is translated best as to be playful, and the other kind of doing is at spille, which can best be understood in English as to be gameful. The corresponding nouns provides 2 ways of understanding a game, which we refer to as the structure of the design. The 2 nouns are in lege, best translated as a play, but not the theatre play. And then we have et spil, which is close to the English a game. This illustration shows the relationships between the words. In this presentation, I will explain these 4 perspectives related to bodily play experiences and subsequently go through 4 strategies on how to facilitate these in the design. Now you see a group of people playing football, or soccer if you want. Football is et spil. Et spil, a game, has fixed rules and focuses on a predetermined outcome, like in football where the focus is on scoring goals. This outcome is irreversible. Once a goal is scored, it counts, and then it is comparable. Most goals wins. The corresponding verb at spille, to be gameful, is then about achieving the outcome, and to do so entails a focus on bodily achievements in the form of testing, improving and acquiring bodily skills. So we say that at spille et spil, to be gameful in a game, is to pursue bodily achievements and skills supported by a structure of fixed rules, facilitating an irreversible outcome. At lege in lege, to be playful in a play. Here is a group of people playing blind man's buff. Blind man's buff is in lege, a play. In blind man's buff, the rules are few, and so the players must make up, negotiate and agree on rules as the activity progresses. These can be how far the players can move away from the blind catcher, or if the players should make noises to be heard, and so on. As such, in lege does not have an irreversible or comparable outcome as the previous examples of football did. When vi leger are being playful, the focus is on bodily exploration, experimentation and stimulation. So at lege in lege, to be playful in a play, is to pursue bodily perceptual stimulation and exploration supported by a structure with no irreversible outcome and guided by few rules. When we reverse the verbs and nouns, to be at lege et spil, to be playful in a game, it is to go against a structure of fixed rules and an irreversible outcome and pursue bodily perceptual stimulation and exploration. As we see in this altered version of football, the focus is switched to be on bodily perception, while the game's objective is still about scoring goals. In other words, to focus on bodily exploration and stimulation in a structure that supports a determinate outcome. The last combination of the verbs and nouns, at spille in lege, to be gameful in a play, is about pursuing bodily achievements and skills in an open structure with few rules and no predetermined outcome. We have added a time limit in the example of blind man's buff, which shifts the catcher's focus to test his or her skills as a catcher. The catcher has to catch a player within the given time frame, or the catcher loses. So in order to facilitate these 4 experiential perspectives in a design, designers can apply these strategies as a start. To design for at spille et spil, to be gameful in a game, it is to create objectives based on skills into sequences of movements for the players to master. In the example of football, the players have to master ball handling skills. To design for a lie in lie, to be playful in a play, it is to create objectives stimulating bodily perception and exploration. In Blind Man's Buff, the catcher is blindfolded and has to rely on hearing and tactile senses. To design for at lie et spil, to be playful in a game, is to implement hints to bodily stimulation and exploration. In the football example, we added a funnel to the player's eyesight to hint at bodily perceptual stimulation. And lastly, to design for at spil in lie, to be gameful in a play, is to include possibilities for bodily achievements and skill testing through rule sets and elements with measuring qualities. In Blind Man's Buff, we added a time limit as a measurement of the catcher's performance. With this work, we hope to expand the range of diverse bodily play and game experiences within computer game design.